It's a matter of fact that there has been systematic industrial scale grooming and gang rape across towns and cities. I released that letter on New Year's Day with Jess Phillips, Minister for Safeguarding Girls, refuses a public inquiry. I think it was 6 times or 7 times, I've lost count, Nick. Labour Party run council after Labour Party run council blocked calling in the government to the grooming and gang rape of children. Now, a matter of fact, YouTube can't take this down, X won't take this down. Now it's a matter of fact. It's a matter of fact that there has been systematic industrial scale grooming and gang rape across towns and cities. White working class girls. Now, a matter of fact, the Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, stood up in Parliament and used the term Pakistani heritage rape gangs. Matter of fact. All of this now is in the open. It is now also in the open that those of us who have been speaking out against this are not far right. We are not racists. And it is a matter of fact that one day in Parliament, we will go back and we will correct those record books because they have demonized so many of us. If you go and look in the record books in Hansard, I am a decorated individual, Nick. I am recorded in Hansard as a consequence of the MP of my hometown who's neck deep in this scandal. He stood in Parliament and named me as a far-right racist.
Everybody's a racist these days. That term means absolutely nothing today.
No, but it means nothing today because we've endured that, Nick. You, me, so many of us have endured that. We are from respectable backgrounds with respectable careers. We have devoted our lives to public service. And this is what they did to us. And this is what they did to us because we refused to surrender children.
Absolutely. Right. Let's jump into this now. So Labour's in trouble at the moment for not holding a national inquiry into the grooming gang scandal. But that didn't come out of thin air. That came out of the fact that Oldham Council, your council, asked the government for a national inquiry. Why did they ask for that and why has it been rejected?
6 years, relentless campaigning, 6 years. They asked for it because we forced them. Let's be very clear. They didn't willingly write a letter to the government. I think it was 6 times or 7 times, I've lost count, Nick. Labour Party run council after Labour Party run council blocked calling in the government. Votes, motions blocked calling in the government. Survivors in the public gallery screaming in anguish as council leader after council leader after council leader blocked it. First person to block it was a man called Sean Fielding, leader of Oldham Council. He stood up in the council chamber and uttered these infamous words, barefaced lies. I repeat, barefaced lies. We campaigned. It took us 18 months before the next election that came along. Relentlessly campaigned. He would mock us online. He sent national newspapers after me. They wrote smear after smear against me because they are connected. Fielding was a protege for Jim McMahon, the MP. He was his best friends, or one of best friends with Angela Rayner, now the Deputy Prime Minister. This is a cabal, a cartel, a mafia, a Labour Party mafia, and they came after us. We took Sean Fielding out, regardless of what he did. At the ballot box, we voted him out. Then came Arooj Shah. Arooj Shah immediately started crying and talking about misogyny and how she's a victim of racism. Accused me of misogyny, accused me of being a racist towards her. I had dared object to her having some form of friendship hanging off the arm of the getaway driver of Dale Cregan, a convicted heroin dealer, released information.
Matter of fact as well. Again, matter of fact.
Matter of fact, his name is Irish Imi Mohammed Imran. Mohammed Imran was convicted twice for crimes against me. He had me followed home. These are dangerous criminals. Had me followed home twice. He was convicted of crimes against me. He openly hangs off her arm. He goes to the council. He stands in the council chamber where the votes are being counted. He's a key member of her campaign team. And as recently as 2 months ago, 3 months ago, he featured on Oldham Council branded uh, high-vis vests or whatever they were out as part of a community ambassador program for the council. This is what is going on in my town, right? Now, we campaigned against her. She had me arrested, falsely arrested, maliciously arrested. The police threatened me. The police threatened me and said, if you campaign, we will lock you up. This is a liberal Western democracy. When the places where I have been, where the police threaten people and say, if you campaign, we'll put you in prison. Those aren't the sort of places I want to live in. Those are the sort of places that we give refuge to people who are fleeing. Not my own nation, not my own country. The police, Andy Burnham is neck deep in this, and we'll go to him later. We campaigned against Arud Shah. We removed her from power. When we started this, the Labour Party had 47 of the 60 seats. All the time, the opposition are finding some courage because they've finally seen someone who is not using this as a pedestal to go somewhere else. This is my home. I buried my mother in the local cemetery. My daughter goes to the local school. This is the community that I belong to. Along came Amanda Chadderton, the third council leader. Amanda Chadderton, during her tenure, Burnham's report came out. 3 years it took us to push Burnham to release his report. We'll talk about Burnham's report in a moment. Amanda Chadderton infamously stood up in a council meeting and uttered the words, "You can't say it destroyed their lives." It being grooming and gang rape. You can't say it destroyed their lives. Again, matter of fact, I don't operate in innuendo or half truths or suggestions or conspiracy theories. This is outrageous for
Absolutely shocking.
yeah, for a mother, she works, I think at the time at Manchester Council, because all of these councils are interconnected. Yeah, because the councils tend to give people jobs who then tend to have political appointments in neighbouring Labour Party local authorities. All of it is, it is, isn't it? It's like a cabal in terms of how it operates. And you have experience of that. Now, we started to campaign to remove Amanda Chadderton. I led that campaign. We mobilised some independents. Just before the election, the police came and arrested me. Dawn raided my house. By now, it's become a familiar occurrence. Dawn raiding a man's house with no criminal record, decorated by the former monarch with 20 years plus of public service at the highest level of government. Dawn raided my house repeatedly, repeatedly, repeatedly. This time they dragged me in and spoke to my solicitor. By now I've got a legal team, Nick, and my solicitor sits down and tells me, Roger, they've sent off some paperwork for a fast tracking charging decision to the CPS. Their aim is to lock you up, put you on remand. I have no criminal record on it. And they've not even interviewed me for anything at this point. The aim is to lock you up, put you on remand, and prevent you from campaigning in the election.
Yeah, they wanted you to be a political prisoner, like the dozens we already have in jail.
Yes, 100%. And what happened? I am not the sort of man who is easily intimidated. For over 3 years, I've been from courtroom to courtroom, fighting my innocence. I walked out of that police station. I was still in my pajamas, Nick, because when they arrest you, yeah, they just kick you out. I walked to the tram station near the police station, got on the tram to a whole host of people looking at me, caught the tram, got off at another tram station because the tram doesn't come to where I live, went and knocked on a friend's door who gave me a lift home. The next day, I woke up and I mobilized the team and we went out campaigning. Andy Burnham came to Oldham to try and rescue Amanda Chadderton. We defeated Amanda Chadderton at the ballot box despite the machinery of the Labour Party and the state attempting to stop us. 3 Labour Party leaders in succession removed. The following year, and again, no public inquiry, continuing to vote it down. The following year was an all-out election. It was our chance. The Labour Party now in Oldham, against the national trend. Remember, this is before the general election where the Labour Party got a massive, massive majority. Against the national trend, we decimated the Labour Party from 47 seats to 27 seats. That is how we beat them at the ballot box. I'm not a criminal. I'm not a gangster. The people who follow me believe in democracy, and we have mobilized the town this way. And we forced the council then to have a vote. And that council had to have a voted that way because to stay in power, Arud Shah's now back as leader of the council. She needed to do a deal with 4 independents and to try and placate their communities because they got elected on the promise that they would never work with this administration. I have the paperwork. They then had to sign off the public, a letter to the Home Secretary calling for a public inquiry. And we proved in that council meeting that the reason they were writing a letter to the Home Secretary calling for a public inquiry because of severe failings in the assurance review published by Andy Burnham, because Andy Burnham is neck deep in this cover-up, because Andy Burnham went away and commissioned 2 men, Malcolm Newsom and Gary Ridgway, so-called experts who spent over 3 years messing around, produced a report, shouted and screamed, "This is not a cover-up, this is not a cover-up." The report was full of cover-ups. You've just got to read it in a certain way. The report was full of cover-ups. I'm sure you've read the report. The report was full of cover-ups. And every allegation I had released that they dared to investigate, every allegation I had released was proven to be 100% accurate. And for that, they have tried to have me imprisoned. That letter went to the government. To this day, I can't get hold of that letter. I will have to put in a Freedom of Information request, in terms of what did he actually write to the government. And the response came from Jess Phillips about October time. In the December council meeting, there's a pack that comes out. It's like a green book and all the paperwork's published. The December council meeting made the news because the meeting collapsed. It was sabotaged by a man called Mark Hinds who got up and started shouting and screaming. He's Arud Shah's independent lieutenant on that council. He was former Labour Party member, props up Shah's administration, started abusing some of the Conservative councillors, shouting and screaming. Public record, the videos are online. They sabotaged that meeting and made it collapse. Buried in the paperwork of that meeting was a PDF, the letter back from government, like agenda item 13 PDF. There's nothing as to what it was, what that letter was. I got that letter in November and I'm in December, and I'm sat there looking at it, and I'm thinking, Raja, when do you want to release this letter? I released it on New Year's Day. I released that letter on New Year's Day with Jess Phillips, Minister for Safeguarding Girls, refuses a public inquiry. As has often been the case in this journey of ours, Nick, the national media pick up on it, run it as some sort of exclusive that they've done. Doesn't matter.